Okay, we have our division algorithm. F of x equals q of x times d of x plus r of x. Q is the quotient, d the divisor, r the remainder. Supposing we have a linear divisor, so d of x is linear, x minus c in that form, then we could rewrite this as f of x is equal to q of x times x minus c, which is what I'm dividing by, plus r. Now r would just be a number because I'm just dividing by a linear divisor, which means I'm just going to get a number as my remainder as opposed to a function. Alright, so now suppose we let c, suppose we want to find f of c. What's f of c going to be equal to? Well, f of c, if I plug in c for x, is going to be q of c times c minus c plus r. And since c minus c is 0, that means this goes, so all this is gone. And so we can see that f of c equals r. What does that mean? That means my remainder can be obtained by plugging in this number c into the function. The other thing to say is if f of c is 0, so f of c is our remainder. Supposing f of c is 0, so what that means is the remainder is 0 because f of c is r. So if our remainder is 0, we have my function equal to q of x times x minus c. So that's only if the remainder is 0. Okay? And what does that mean? If I have no remainder, this means this is a factor. So you have a factor if you have no remainder, a remainder of 0. So let's summarize this. So we have our algorithm, f of x equals the quotient times x minus c, my divisor, plus the remainder. So we've seen that if f of c is actually the remainder, plug in c into my function and get the remainder. And in addition, if f of c is 0, that means the remainder is 0, that means x minus c is a factor of f. If x minus c is a factor of my function, that means c is a 0 of my function. Why is that? Because c minus c would give me 0 and would be a 0 of the function. So those two theorems are called the remainder theorem and the factor theorem. So let's apply these. So this question asks you to find the remainder of this division, x cubed minus 4x squared plus 5x plus 3 divided by x minus 2. So first I'm going to do synthetic division to show you, and then we're just going to plug in the opposite sign of this number 2 into my function and find the same remainder. So using synthetic division, the first thing is you write the coefficients of your polynomial, 1, negative 4, 5, and 3, in descending order, and then take the opposite sign of this number here, so opposite sign of negative 2 is 2, and that's what you're going to divide into your polynomial synthetically. So first we drop this number, so we drop the 1, and we go 2 times 1 is 2, put the 2 there. We add these, remember we're adding, negative 4 plus 2, negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And we add these two, 5 minus 4 is 1. And then 2 times 1 is 2. And add these two is 5. So my remainder is 5. So according to our theorem, it says that if I plug in negative 2 into this function, if I plug, 2 into this function, I should get my remainder as well. So if I plug in 2, I'll get 2 cubed minus 4 times 2 squared. So this is f of 2 equals 2 cubed minus 4 times 2 squared plus 5 times 2 plus 3. So let's work this out. We get 8 minus, this is 4 times 4, so 8 minus 16 is minus 8. Minus 8 plus 10 is plus 2, and plus 2 plus 3 is 5. So this is my remainder. So two ways to find the remainder. Plug in the opposite sign of this into your function, or do the synthetic division and the last number is your remainder. So this question asks you just so 3 is a 0 of this function 2x cubed minus 3x squared minus 11x plus 6. If it's a 0 of this function, it means when you plug it into the function, it gives you 0. So there are two ways to show the 0. We could divide by the factor. If 3 is a 0, that means x minus 3 is a factor. And so if x minus 3, so x minus this number is a factor. If x minus 3 is a factor, when I do my division, we should get no remainder. So we have our synthetic division set up with the coefficients of the polynomial. 2, negative 3, negative 11, 6. We divide by the opposite number of what's here in my factor, or we could do, or think of it as dividing by the 0. And what do? We drop the 2, so we get 2. 3 times 2 is 6. We add these, negative 3 plus 6 is 3. And we're adding. 3 times 3 is 9. We add these, negative 11 plus 9 is negative 2. We multiply, 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. And then we add these to get 0. So this is my remainder, so we have no remainder. We have no remainder. So that means x minus 3 is a factor. Another way to go about this is figuring out what is f of 3 equal to. F of 3 should give you the remainder if there's any, and if the remainder is 0, that means 3 is a 0. So f of 3 is going to be equal to 2 times 3 cubed minus 3 times 3 squared minus 11 times 3 plus 6. So let's calculate this out. We get 3 cubed is 27 times 2 is 54. 54 minus, this is 3 squared is 9 times 3 is 27. So 54 minus 27 is 27. 27 minus 33, 11 times 3 is 33. So 27 minus 33 is minus 6 plus 6, 0. So because f of 3 is 0, or when you do your division by the factor you get no remainder, that means 3 is a 0, or x minus 3 is a factor of this polynomial.